There is a moment, late at night, when everything becomes quiet. No notifications, no voices, no distractions, and yet your mind gets louder. You replay conversations that ended hours ago. You imagine scenarios that haven't even happened. You create problems, solve them, and then create new ones again. It feels like thinking, but it isn't. It's something else, something deeper, something darker. Overthinking is not intelligence. It's a loop your mind doesn't know how to escape. And the strange part is, the more aware you are, the deeper you fall into it. Because overthinking doesn't come from a weak mind. It comes from a mind that sees too much. Psychologists like Sigmund Freud believe that the human mind is not fully under our control. That beneath our conscious thoughts, there is a hidden layer. A place where fears, memories, and unresolved emotions live. And overthinking is often the voice of that hidden layer trying to be heard. You see, your brain is designed to protect you. It scans for danger, not just physical danger, but emotional danger, rejection, embarrassment, failure, loss. And when it senses even the possibility of these things, it starts preparing. What if this goes wrong? What if they meant something else? What if I lose everything? At first, it feels like problem solving. But then, something shifts. The thoughts stop being useful, and they start repeating, again, and again, and again. This is where neuroscience steps in. Inside your brain, there is something called the default mode network. It activates when you are not focused on the outside world, when you are alone, when you are still, when you are thinking. For most people, it helps with reflection. But for overthinkers, it becomes overactive. It doesn't just reflect. It traps. It pulls you into a cycle of self-analysis so deep that you lose connection with reality. You stop living in the present and start living inside your head. And the more intelligent you are, the more dangerous this becomes. Because your mind becomes better at creating complex scenarios, better at imagining outcomes, better at convincing you that something is wrong, even when nothing is. This is why many overthinkers appear calm on the outside, but inside, they are in constant chaos. There's another layer to this, one that Carl Jung described in a way most people ignore. He called it the shadow, the part of you that you hide, the emotions you don't express, the thoughts you suppress, the anger you never release, the fear you pretend doesn't exist. Overthinking is often the shadow trying to speak, because what you don't express doesn't disappear. It transforms. It moves into your subconscious. And from there, it starts controlling your thoughts. Quietly, slowly, powerfully. This is why overthinkers often replay past situations. Not because they want to, but because something inside them is unresolved. A moment they didn't understand. A feeling they didn't process. A truth they didn't accept. And so the mind goes back, again and again, trying to find closure that never came. But here's the twist. Overthinking doesn't solve these problems. It deepens them. Because instead of experiencing emotions, you analyze them. Instead of feeling pain, you dissect it. And in doing so, you never actually release it. You just keep it alive. There's a silent pattern in people who overthink. They struggle to trust, not just others, but themselves. They question their decisions. They doubt their instincts. They replay their choices, until even the right ones start to feel wrong. And this creates anxiety. Not loud anxiety, but a quiet, constant pressure. A feeling that something is off, even when everything seems fine. In real life, this shows up in subtle ways. You send a message, and immediately start wondering if it sounded wrong. You make a decision, and then imagine all the ways it could fail. You meet someone, and later analyze every word you said. It's exhausting, but the mind doesn't stop because it believes it's protecting you. It believes that if it thinks enough, it can prevent pain. But pain doesn't come from not thinking enough. It comes from not living enough. Overthinking creates an illusion of control. It makes you feel like you're doing something, like you're preparing, like you're staying ahead. But in reality, you're standing still, trapped in a loop of thoughts that lead nowhere. And the longer you stay in that loop, the harder it becomes to leave, because it becomes your identity. You start saying things like, "I'm just an overthinker," as if it's who you are. But it's not. It's a pattern your brain learned. And anything learned can be unlearned, but only if you see it for what it is. Not intelligence, not awareness, but avoidance. Avoidance of uncertainty, avoidance of emotion, avoidance of reality. The truth is, clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from thinking less, from stepping out of the mind and into the present moment, from allowing things to be uncertain, from accepting that not everything needs to be solved, because some things are meant to be experienced, not analyzed. And when you begin to understand this, something shifts. The thoughts don't disappear instantly, but they lose their power. They become just thoughts, not truths, not warnings, not reality, just noise. And in that silence, you finally begin to live, not in your head, but in your life, because the mind can be your greatest tool or your deepest trap, and the difference is whether you control it or it controls you. So the next time your thoughts start spiraling, pause, not to think more, but to step back, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not think at all. And if this made you see your own mind a little differently, stay here, because some truths are uncomfortable, but they are the ones that change you.